You've probably heard the term cloud native thrown around a lot, and you might be wondering, what does it actually mean? It sounds super complicated, right? But the core ideas behind it are surprisingly simple and, honestly, pretty powerful. So today we're going to break it all down with a simple guide.
First, let me ask you something. Think about the software you build, or maybe the software you use every day. Is it like a massive immovable boulder? You know, the kind where you have to push and sweat just to make one tiny change, and if one little piece chips off, does the whole thing threaten to crumble into dust? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone.
Well, that giant, fragile rock, that's what we call a monolith. It's an application that's built as one single massive unit. All the pieces are so tightly tangled together that a failure in some obscure, tiny feature can bring the entire system crashing down. It's a really high-stakes, all-or-nothing game.
So let's really dig into this first part, the monolith problem, because understanding the pain points of the old approach is absolutely key to seeing why we needed such a dramatic change in the first place.
The problem with the monolith is pretty simple when you boil it down. It's slow, it's clunky, and it is incredibly fragile. Making even a small change means you have to retest and redeploy the entire thing. It's kind of like having to rebuild your entire car from scratch just to change a tire. And that lack of agility, it's a huge roadblock in the world we live in today.
Okay, so how do we fix this? Well, the answer is to stop trying to move that giant boulder. Instead, we're going to break it down and start building with smart, flexible blocks. This is really the fundamental shift of cloud native. And the first big idea here is microservices. Instead of one giant application, we break it down into dozens or maybe even hundreds of tiny, independent services. Each one does just one job, like, say, handling user logins or processing payments. And it does that one job really, really well.
So here's the crucial part. We're moving from that one big, fragile rock to a whole collection of small, resilient cubes. Each of these cubes can be updated, it can be scaled, or it can even fail without affecting any of the others. Think about it. If the payment service has an issue, your users can still browse the product catalog or read reviews. That is a huge leap in resilience.
Now you might be thinking, how on earth do we manage all these tiny cubes and make sure they can move around? Well, that's where containerization comes in. It's this brilliant way of packaging up a microservice and everything it needs to run into a single standardized box.
Just think of a container as the perfect lunchbox. You've got the sandwich, the drink, the napkin, everything you need, all packed together neatly. A container does the same thing for code. It has the application, the libraries, the settings, everything. And this means it runs the exact same way on a developer's laptop, in a testing environment, or on a massive production server. It is finally the end of the "but it worked on my machine" excuse.
Okay, so we've got our smart blocks, but how do we put them together quickly and safely? We need to replace that slow, manual workshop with a high-speed, automated assembly line. Because in the cloud-native world, automation is literally everything.
And this is the CI/CD pipeline. It stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Picture a conveyor belt. A developer commits some new code and it gets dropped onto the belt. It's automatically tested right there. If the code is bad, a trap door opens up and poof, it's incinerated. But if it's good, it just keeps moving down the line and gets deployed to users, sometimes in a matter of minutes. This whole process automates everything, catching errors early and delivering value way faster.
But, tools are only half the battle. For decades, there's been this massive wall between the people who write the code, that's development or dev, and the people who run it in production, operations, or ops. Dev would finish your work and just kind of throw it over the wall, and ops would get hit with it. And that, of course, led to a lot of finger-pointing whenever things broke.
This is why cloud native is so much more than just technology. It's a huge cultural shift. You can't just buy a bunch of new tools and expect everything to change. You have to fundamentally change how people work together. It's really time to take a sledgehammer to that wall.
And the solution for that is DevOps. It's a culture where developers and operations teams work together, side by side, sharing responsibility for the entire lifecycle of an application. This collaboration is what smashes the silos, speeds up delivery, and finally stops the blame game.
All right, now let's look at the critical elements that power this entire system. You can think of these as the invisible forces, the code, the clouds, and the shields that make everything just work seamlessly behind the scenes.
In the old days, if you needed a new server, it meant physically racking hardware and plugging in a bunch of cables. Now we use something called infrastructure as code.
We literally define our entire environment, servers, databases, networks, you name it, in text files just like regular application code. It's almost like having a magic scroll. You write a line of code describing a server, and poof, it just appears in the cloud. Need 100 more for a big Black Friday sale? You just change a number from 1 to 100. And when the sale is over, you erase the line, and they all vanish, which means you stop paying for them. It's powerful, it's repeatable, and it's completely automated.
Security also gets a major upgrade. With a monolith, security was often just a big wall built around the entire application. In a cloud-native world, that's just not going to cut it. Instead, security is built in from the very beginning. Every single one of those little microservice cubes gets its own tiny shield. Security is everywhere, at every single level.
So, we've broken down the monolith, we've packed our services in containers, we've automated our pipelines, and we've transformed our culture. What does all this effort actually get us? Let's talk about the cloud-native payoff.
First off, we gain this incredible insight. See, traditional monitoring is like the check engine light in your car. It tells you that something is wrong, but it doesn't tell you what. Observability, that's different. It's about having the ability to ask new questions about your system and understand not just that it's broken, but why it's broken. Think of it as upgrading from that simple red warning light to having a pair of X-ray goggles. You can look deep inside your complex system of hundreds of cubes and see the exact gear that's stripped or the specific wire that's disconnected. And this makes finding and fixing problems incredibly fast.
And all of this leads to some huge business advantages. Your application now has elastic scalability, meaning it can instantly multiply itself to handle a huge surge in traffic and then shrink right back down to save money when things get quiet. It's highly resilient because one failing component doesn't bring down the whole show. And you gain this incredible agility to innovate and deliver new features to your users faster than ever before.
So that's pretty much cloud native in a nutshell. It's a shift away from a fragile, slow-moving boulder to a dynamic, resilient, and agile system that's truly built for the modern world. The only question left is this: is your future built on rock or is it built on clouds?